Right, so I'm on for a brief bit of a Saturday stream. As a lot of you know, I don't normally stream Saturdays because I work Saturday most of the day and then Sunday most of the day. But I thought I'd do a brief one today. And I'm mostly going to want to talk to you about all the kind of crazy shit that's been going on in the media surrounding coronavirus. Because I don't know what it's like in your country, but in the UK, what's currently going on in the news is you get all these people who are supposedly experts kind of doing this double think of nobody needs to worry, but it's also really bad. And the thing that really kind of worries me, actually, and I mean worries me, is that you've got these experts on and they're saying, well, if we look at the numbers coming out of China, it can't be that bad. Or, well, we've got these steps we can take if it gets worse, but we're not going to be proactive and do those things. We're just going to react as and when things happen, which, if anybody knows anything about preparing for stuff, that's not a good thing to do, to say, let's wait until it gets worse before we do anything. What's the BBC been saying then, Gavin? I've not actually seen other than when they've reported on it, but yeah, don't forget to like the stream, everybody. But yeah, I won't be on very long tonight. I'll be on 30 minutes or so, 30, 40 minutes, but because I don't normally stream Saturday, but yeah, there's just been a lot of stuff on the news today which I really didn't like on LBC when they had supposed experts on there just saying stuff like, well, if we go on the Chinese figures, it won't be that bad. It's like, well, the Chinese figures are both officially considered to be underestimates and they're propaganda numbers. That'd be like the Soviets saying, oh, Chernobyl's not that bad. I mean, it's... Thank you very much, Ollie. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's just one of those kind of crazy things that FP5s normally fit into GOS filter ports, yes. Sometimes they don't. It seems to be like oh yeah, let me add you, Ollie. Thank you. Let me just load up Discord. But yeah, I've been a bit amazed by just kind of how many people who are officially exports are literally saying, I'm going to 100% believe the Chinese numbers and that, it can't be that bad because the Chinese numbers say it's not that bad. And, all that sort of stuff, which, always is quite annoying. Because even if you officially, don't think the CCP is lying about it, even the CCP say they know the numbers aren't accurate just because of how hard it is to actually, track all of it and all that sort of stuff. So it kind of just amazes me when you get all that kind of stuff, that they're still, you get people in official positions saying that. But, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised at this stage, but I'm just trying to find you on the list, Ollie. It says you accepted it, but where are you on the list? There you are. Invite to server. There you go. Thank you. But yeah. Also, a quick question for people. I got this old Canadian Radiac today. Came in the post. I bought it a while ago, but it finally turned up in the post, which was nice. Really cool. It's actually a trainer model. I don't know if it can measure radiation or not. I've not opened it up and looked at the circuitry inside. But it's got a 0 to 500 Rontgen measurement. But anyway, what I was interested in, does anybody know what weird type of batteries it takes? I know a lot of these are old obsolete batteries, but it's 4 batteries. But if you want to see the size of it compared to a AAA, there you go. So obviously it's a battery smaller than the AAA, but I don't know what. But it's bigger than, what do you call them, batteries? Half AA, because the half AA battery is this size. So it's obviously bigger batteries than a half AA, smaller batteries than a AAA. So I don't know at all what kind of battery this takes. I couldn't find any info out online, but it's probably some sort of obsolete battery. I can try and power this with my variable voltage transformer. But yeah, just thought it was quite an interesting thing, old Canadian Radiac. Sadly, I think this is a training one, not an actual one that measures radiation, but still a cool antique. I love the non-linear 500 Rontgen scale on there. I don't think it's a C battery. Let me look up 18340 battery. Oh, thank you, Chris. Let me just add you. Let's look up 18340 battery before I forget. So, yeah, cool. I've got a pack open of those. I think I've got some 18340s actually looking at that. Let me add the other person on Discord. Thank you, Chris. But yeah. Well, is that 15 million worldwide? Because that's not too scary a number if it's across the entire world. But if that's based on a single country, then that's not a very good figure at all. Also, regarding stuff to do with Britain not taking it very seriously, Russia, if you come from the UK now on a flight to Russia, you're being quarantined for 2 weeks, even our own government. There's a kind of weird battery I've got on here somewhere, because I was measuring it up earlier against the battery slot. That's a rechargeable 3.7 volt one, but I don't know if it was that or not. Can't see where I've put it now. These. You can reuse P3 filters as long as they're not too clogged or you've not got them damp or like damaged. This is a 16 340. Yep. So France has gone up from like 1K from only a couple of hundred cases a couple of weeks ago, hasn't it? Which again is a similar thing that we've seen with Italy, and I think it's a similar thing that's going to happen to the UK in a week or two. Right, stay safe, Michael. But hasn't Florida not Florida or California just declared a state of emergency now? Yeah, in regards to at least this type of battery, the 16 340s, you could just about shove these in there, but this is definitely older than the 16 340 battery. So yeah, you can bodge these in, but I don't think it's meant to run on them at all. Saying that, actually, no, it wouldn't work because they're too fat to fit next to each other on here. I don't know if I can get a second one in there, but actually you might just about be able to do it, but I know it's not meant to run on those voltage-wise. What year was it made? Let me have a look, sorry. Let me see if I can get these batteries out, because they're in there really tight now. I shouldn't have put them in there, because obviously they're not meant to go in. But anyway, I'll get those out later. We'll see if there's a date on it. It says Batch Simpson Canada, or Batch Simpson Canada. Is there a serial number on it anywhere, or anything like that? Serial number is 3265. But I can't actually see a date of manufacture on it anywhere. So yeah, I'm afraid in regards to when it was manufactured, I actually have no idea because I can't see any dates on it. Yeah, who knows? So yeah, the main point of this stream was mostly for talking about kind of weird stuff that different governments have been saying. I know I'm getting distracted with Geiger counters, dosimeters, whatever that thing is. Probably an ion chamber training unit, but because it's probably, if you're being serious, Dranic, because it's probably 50 years since that manufacturer has even existed. If you know most of the old civil defense stuff, that all like old Radiac equipment, the manufacturers are long since dead, because this is like 1950s, 1960s military hardware. The P3 section of particulate filter in old expired filters will still work. But anyway, I want to get back to the stream on topic, which was for people in other places other than the UK, what weird kind of bullshit stuff has your government or experts been saying which is just contradictory to science? Yeah, White Wolf saying about that, the UK's already on panic buying now, and there were people arguing on the radio about panic buying. One of the other weird bits of shit I heard on the radio earlier was one woman saying, apparently who was a doctor, so bear in mind, you'd think a doctor would be a highly educated person because they're a doctor. She was saying, how dare people buy masks because they're stealing them from doctors? Well, if they bought them, they're not stealing, are they? Again, it's this thing of, oh, our supply chain is so shit, our like doctors or whatever, or hospitals can't buy the masks properly. So, you know, from a manufacturer directly. So we're going to blame people who buy them now. What country are you in, Dev? I know Trump's been a bit of a moron over this, to be in all honesty, and I don't mind Trump, actually. I'm not one of those people that goes, oh, orange man bad, but when Trump's been trying to downplay this whole thing, that's quite a bad mistake to do. Cheers, Maxi. A bit shit, but it's all right now. I'm over for another day. I'm in tomorrow, though, but, you know, tomorrow's another day. Let's hope tomorrow's not as bad as today, but it's just the normal problem of it just being short-staffed and all that sort of shit. It's a 32650 battery. Let me look that up. But again, how do you know it's a 32650 battery? I thank you for the information if it's correct, but how do you know that? Because somebody else said 18340. 32650 battery. Let's see what's on there. Oh, it's auto-corrected it to a 326. I'll go back to the stream in a minute. I'm just a bit interested in these 32650s. I doubt it would be a 32650 because that seems too new a design. Bear in mind, this is something from like the 1960s or something. So they're actually literally survived. People are stealing from the hospitals. I think somebody was saying on LBC though today that in the UK, UK hospitals are actually having toilet rolls stolen to be resold. Yeah, I'm not on about British ones at the moment, kittens. I know about the old British batteries, and again, you can't buy them anymore. But they're actually what you call vacuum tube batteries in the old British ion chambers, which are quite annoying things because again, they don't design batteries like that anymore. Well, to be honest, John, thank you for your kind words, but I think most countries are going to be in this situation fairly soon. That's kind of crazy though, Rimfer, but if you think about it, if people are literally able to sell a dispenser full of hand sanitizer for like $100 to $200 or pounds each, it doesn't really surprise me. It's like, what, this is worth more on the streets now than a lot of drugs. Literally selling hand sanitizer to people. Oh, it's just so crazy, isn't it? Yeah, sounds good, Titan, but don't let the government confiscate it because apparently the UK government is now confiscating supplies from civilians. So, you know, there's that. Yeah, lots of them are doing that, Gustavs, just like they've been saying, oh, you know, masks don't protect you, where they just say all masks are masks rather than differentiating the different types of masks. Depends what you mean by normal respirator, A. Lowry. Half face mask with goggles is fine. Full face military style gas masks are probably a bit better, but both are fine. Cheers again, Maxi Boy. Where do you work? Don't obviously say the exact location, but like what brand of store or whatever. But yeah, they were saying in Tesco's, Asda, all the supermarkets, toilet rolls selling out now. Luckily, we always have loads in the house. I don't know why, but toilet paper is something we always seem to buy in like the value multi-packs and then buy several of them at once. So we've always got like several months worth of toilet paper, so that's good at least. But problem is, vodka isn't strong enough, Gustavs. If it's 40% vodka, that's not good enough. You need 70% ABV. We don't have them in the UK, bidets, but if your water gets cut off, a bidet's not going to help you, is it? What sort of things vintage radio battery? I know you say RACA WF14, but what kind of vintage batteries are that? Because when I search that, there's a couple of Geiger counters coming up, but oh, cool. So that is actually a vintage Geiger counter, is it? I found a listing of it. What country is that one from? Because I can see, I found a page selling it, but it's just kind of somebody putting buzzwords in. It's kind of got like a similar design to the US CDV type ones, hasn't it? Where it's got the handle and all that. It's got a counts per minute CPM display. Looks quite a nice old unit though. But I like how tall it is if you look at it from a side profile. One of the things I will always say to people is if you're buying Geiger counters, just get a modern one, just because of the fact that you can actually get batteries for them. All right, Peach, I'm only going to be on another 15 minutes. I had one of my Patreon supporters earlier telling me he's from Hong Kong and just saying in general in Asian countries, people wearing masks all the time is good because it slows down the rate of infection from both infected people and non-infected people, which is a very good point. But, in the UK, we're having all this bullshit of the only precaution you need to take is to wash your hands. Like wearing a mask. No, don't do that. Don't do anything other than normal. Kids should still go to school and all this sort of stuff because apparently kids can't get it, or if they can get it, it's only very mild for children, which sounds like a very preemptive thing to say, especially if it just starts killing kids. That's going to be very bad advice. I think it will. I'm sad, unfortunately. I think it is going to kill a lot of people, probably a few % of the Earth's population. But, I think the main problem I'm having with it is just how dishonest a lot of the media and governments are being, or just how stupid they're being. I heard about that on the radio, but not much about it, that thing collapsing. Do you reckon they collapsed it on purpose to kill the people inside so they don't add up to the official figures, or do you think it was just a complete accident because the building was built to a shit standard? Yeah, that's my point, because we have a lot of people, not many names left, who are saying, according to the official Chinese figures, like children don't get it, or they only get it very mildly. And it's like, yeah, but there's videos of dead kids. And again, that could be from something completely different, being like falsely re-uploaded, but I don't think it is. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, if you're coming on, because there's way more people watching than likes at the moment. Teens can certainly get it. Anyone can get it, as far as I'm aware. It's just that the older you are and more health issues you have, the more likely you are to kill you. Thank you, Adamska Sokolov, if I'm pronouncing your name right. No, I don't think the numbers are accurate, especially because apparently some of the people recovered from it then have to get readmitted to hospital because they're still showing symptoms and then become really ill again. Some of the recovered people, I'm sure, will be recovered, but a lot of it is just propaganda numbers coming out of China. I'm pretty certain of that. And probably other countries as well, but the problem is countries don't want to look bad on the figures, so they're going, oh, look how well our health service is dealing with it. I wouldn't recommend using that, George, but maybe it will still work. There's still a percentage chance anybody could die even if they don't have underlying health problems. For Eric, who just sent me a thing, those filters would work if he's asking if you can get them. I'll just reply to them quickly, but yeah. The old 3M plastic filters are fine. Thank you, person with a hash for a name or something. You say, can a Draeger 5500 be submerged in dish soap? Let me look up the mask because I'm not familiar with it without looking it up. But I'm sure as long as you take the filters off, yeah, if you take the filters off of that, it'll be absolutely fine because it's just a rubber and plastic mask, so nothing in that is going to get damaged by dish soap. Don't put it in boiling water, put it in like 60 degrees Celsius water at the max, but like probably 30, 40 C water, but otherwise it'd be fine. I don't think a nasal spray would stop a virus getting in through your nose. Most nasal sprays are generally like antihistamine things, aren't they? Designed to stop sneezing. Because if they stop stuff getting in through your nose, it would also stop air getting in, I'd imagine. Because you can't have something in your nasal passage that would kill like 100% of bacteria and viruses. Vessi Gaming said, our Chief Medical Officer UK, in terms of wearing a mask, our advice is clear that wearing a mask if you don't have an infection reduces the risk almost not at all. So we do not advise that. Yeah, but you know that's bullshit because they've started requisitioning masks for doctors. So again, it's that whole thing I was saying in a video recently. I think a lot more people would have respect for them if they just said, look, in all honesty, we've not got enough masks for doctors and police and all those sort of people. So we need to prioritize them getting masks. So please don't hoard masks. You know, that would be good advice. But instead, what they're saying is masks don't protect you, but we need them. Which, again, I think people can smell bullshit on that really quickly. Yeah, exactly, Magic Platypus. What I've been saying, a lot of people have been saying recently, look at what they do, not what they say. So if they're building hundreds of new hospitals or whatever, dozens of new hospitals for contagion type stuff, look at that rather than saying the numbers are going down, because you wouldn't be building more hospitals if you're on top of it. Thank you, Hayden. He says, if the PMK2 mask suitable for modern CBRN uses, yeah, it is a CBRN mask. I'm not a massive fan of the PMK series, but in terms of would the rubber survive chemical agents, stuff like that, yeah, it'd be absolutely fine. Sadly, that's a lot easier said than done, especially if Howes is like £500,000. Again, not practical, is it? GP5 filter. I wouldn't recommend it due to the filter contents, but assuming it's in very good condition, it probably would to a degree. But again, it's an old, outdated filter that doesn't meet modern standards. You're surprised what still are potato flinger? There's nothing in your comment about what's still cheap. What are you on about? I answered that in a video the other day, Gavin. Depends completely what you mean. Are you using it for chemical use, particulate use, what? I mean, to be honest, that doesn't surprise me, Gaming Melon, but I think a lot of people are just fucking stupid at this point. When I was at work today, the amount of people that were coughing and not coughing into their hands, not workers, but just people in the store, you know, like just coughing and splurting everywhere, and, you know, seem to be coming out despite the fact we're being told we need to socially isolate. You know, I think these people have kind of got it coming, in all honesty. It might sound horrible, but, you know, if they cannot follow any kind of advice whatsoever like that to not get infected. Alex said, if you air seal an OP mask, does it have any OPP? What do you mean by an OP mask? Let me search alt mask. Do you mean surgical masks? If you air seal them, I think you'd suffocate, because aren't they meant to be airtight? As in, they've got a waterproof layer basically to stop spittle coming out. What you'd want to get is just a dust mask. Surgery mask, yeah, don't make those airtight, because I think you'd suffocate. The whole point of those is basically that they're meant to be waterproof or water resistant to stop your like spittle flying out. The only thing I can think of, Synfrost, because just saying little rubber ring doesn't tell me anything, but I'd assume it's something to do with the drinking tube. Is it a washer for the drinking tube attachment where the little screw is? Yeah, I can't keep up with comments anymore on videos, I'm afraid, OG Zombie Blunt, so only the comments get replies at the times I randomly check them. He said, I left a comment on your most recent video of a link. California is recommending healthcare workers working with patients wear powered air respirators. They emit aerosols, the CDC. Very interesting, but yeah, if you've posted a link, YouTube's just memory hold it, because if you post links on videos, they just basically put in a spam folder I can't see. So just for people wanting to post links, don't bother, because your comment's just going to get deleted. Not by me, just YouTube's going to delete it or hold it somewhere I can't review it. Yeah, Magic Platypus, it might be really bad, but I suppose it means if you survive it, you're going to have things pretty easy afterwards. But yeah, it has not filled me with confidence the last week, the amount of people who are still downplaying it. They even had people again on the radio today saying, oh, lots of people die in car accidents, so why should I be worried about this? I don't even know how to respond to something like that. Yeah, I agree, Kathy. I'd say I'm going to cough on you or something, or it's to protect you from me if people said, why have you got a mask on? He said, what's the additional right cheek port on the M15? On the Israeli M15, there's a voice diaphragm on the front, there's the filter port on the bottom, there's the exhale valve on the bottom, and then some models also have a voice diaphragm on one side, like a secondary one, and then all of them have a drinking tube on one side. So it might be the extra voice diaphragm if you've got the more modern M15. I've got the older design that only has one voice diaphragm, but thank you, Connor. And Brandon, thank you very much. He said, do you think the Scott Pro 2 A2P3 combination filters will be enough to get the virus to make it low? Yeah, they'd be absolutely fine. The important bit on that is P3, and because they've got the A2 bit on it, they've got the charcoal layer on it as well, they'd work really well. I wouldn't believe that personally, Tesco propaganda ministry. Because if that worked that well, doctors and all that wouldn't wear PPE, would they? They'd just use that spray in their nose so it was easier for them to do stuff. So no, I don't believe that. It probably is better than nothing, but I'd much rather personally wear a proper, mask and filter system than a little bit of gel up my nose or something. Yeah. As of a day during last week, I can't remember which day it was, Brandenburg, I was at my local pharmacy to pick up a prescription, and they said they sold out of surgical masks, sold out of sanitizer and can't even back order it, and had sold out of medical gloves, as in, like nitrile gloves. Because masks are only for the government, not for you, is the quick answer to that. Because the media is literally telling you the opposite, saying masks don't work, and they won't ever specify what the type of mask is. I'm just blocking the spam bots, by the way. We've been getting a lot of them on recent videos. I guess they have a load of copy-pasted replies they post in to try and get you to look at their channel. Yeah, I actually blocked somebody, Magic Platypus, in the comments because he said 111 are useless. If I get it, I'm just going to the doctors. And I thought, what a cunt you are, Basically, you're saying, oh, I'm going to infect and kill other people because, I don't like 111. All right, Zarek, tough day at work today, but I'm on now. I'm going to be off in literally like 5 minutes. But we're mostly just talking on this stream and I'm not getting distracted about how bad government responses have been in a lot of places. Or media responses where they are literally giving out false information or saying, oh, it's probably not going to be that bad, so we're not going to do anything. Personally, at the moment, I avoid kind of going to the doctors anyway, Alori, unless I really need to. But at the moment, I would say unless you really need to go to the doctors full stop, don't go, because your risk of getting infected is so much higher. And, because it's something that's got a few percentage chance of killing you if you catch it, I don't think personally going to the doctors for a minor thing is worth that. If it's something really serious, then of course you're going to have to go to the doctors. But apparently a lot of doctors now are going to do like Skype kind of things rather than actually having to go in for an appointment. Gloves are a good idea if you use them properly, but if you don't, they're probably worse than just washing your hands regularly. Supposedly it's already mutated, but I don't know if that's been backed up on any real scientific stuff yet. Yeah, I reckon so, Ludwig, assuming they report the numbers accurately. Right. Old Russian kids' masks, Michael, are absolutely fine. Don't use the filters with them because they contain asbestos unless it's a real last resort. You'll want to get a newer filter for them, but in terms of the masks themselves, they're absolutely fine. Dark Fighter, we're just talking for a few more minutes before I go off about all the bullshit that's going on in various countries where the media or doctors or experts on the news are all saying just bullshit stuff about corona. Depends what you mean by rip easily. Can you rip it? Yes. Would it rip easily? It's designed not to rip too easily, but it depends what sort of strain you put under. Thank you, Jake. Oh, Jet Snake. It says, if the virus got solved and subsides without massive global disaster, do you think there'll be a nice full of cheap surplus PPE? I think there definitely will be, because I think a lot of people who buy the stuff will basically not have any use for it. Somebody I work with got actually fit tested for a mask like years ago when swine flu was a thing. And they never used their mask, and now they're thinking about selling it because of how much the masks are worth. But yeah, if this all blows over into nothing, I think there'll be lots of PPE flooding the internet at quite reduced prices just so people can get stuff back for it. So it'll be a good time to buy surplus then. It's not a good time to buy it now just because of how inflated in price it is. But alternatively, if you did want to buy a mask at the moment, it's getting harder and harder all the time, especially in the UK where prices are constantly shooting up. CM4s were in stock, Magic Platypus, on UK eBay as of a few days ago. Let me look again, but if they're sold out, they're sold out. You're not getting any. That's the simple answer. There's still CM4s on eBay. Let me link some. Where are you? There we go. There's some CM4s there, but again, they're going to sell out soon. Brandon, thank you again. So do you think UK is lying about numbers? I don't think they're lying about numbers yet, but they're trying to obfuscate a lot of the numbers anyway, in terms of saying things like, we only want to release the numbers once every Friday, and then they got lots of shit for that. We don't really want to reveal where the cases were. People saying, but then we know which places to avoid. And that's apparently one of the things that's working really well in South Korea, is they're sending people alerts if somebody who's confirmed was in an area near them. But in the UK, they're like wanting to do the opposite of that. We have to respect the privacy of somebody who's got a deadly virus in your vicinity. You don't have to say who it was. You just need to say, be careful if you're in this area, because this is where somebody was a day ago with this virus. Finish M61's a really good mask, but a 60mm, which is an obsolete filter format. If a vaccine is developed and it works properly and it's properly tested, yes. If they just rush out a vaccine and it's not had proper testing, then no. Because if a vaccine is rushed out, it can actually be more dangerous than the disease itself. Polish FP5 filters, Michael, or any modern Chinese or Russian filters? Depends where you are, Steve, but in my local pharmacy, they're not available anymore. They've totally sold out, and a lot of places are sold out. Yeah, exactly, Londinium. It's not going to be ready for at least another year, which is why it's always funny when people are like, this company's got a cure. It's like, no, a company's announced that they're going to start trialing a vaccine soon, and it will still be another year until it's ready. I already replied to you, class. Don't spam a comment. My answer's not changed since 10 minutes ago when you asked. If you mean the Swedish Fushida F2, which I think you do mean, to Mountain, it's a very good mask. Yeah, that's a good thing, Darfax. But yeah, I imagine soon that'll be on the list of items selling out everywhere. About 3 per person, Jason, at a minimum. Let me look that up. Game Boy Blue. Need a 1600 battery. Sadly, I can't see any for sale anywhere. I can see ones that make equivalent things, but if you need 4 of them in a circuit, there's no point. I'm not really in any, just to make it obvious, I'm not really in any kind of absurd obsession to power these old Radiacs I've got, because they won't be calibrated anymore anyway. It's just more kind of, if it was an easy to acquire substitute battery, I'd do it. As I've said over and over again, teaser brain, no, because I don't need to use public transport and I can't for my job anyway. If it starts getting really bad, my job will literally tell me not to come in because they won't be allowed to open if quarantine stuff starts happening. But at the moment, there's no point because I don't use public transport and I'm not really at risk of catching it in my car. But I think we have to come to the conclusion that eventually a lot of us are just going to catch it anyway. Sorry, Teaser Brain, if you've only just come in, but that gets asked generally like 10 times every stream or every video at the moment. And the answer is, I don't need to use public transport for my job. I use my car, so I don't need it for public transport. If I had to use public transport, I would wear a mask for my job, basically. I wouldn't be allowed to use one, but, you know. Thank you, Michael. He says, found a Papa unit for about $100. Good deal, right? If it's in good condition, it uses a standard type of battery, I'd say that's not a bad price. But again, it depends because some Papa units like weird obsolete batteries or like very hard to find batteries that you're probably going to struggle to get for it. Yeah, as long as you're minimizing stuff, Magic Platypus, that's a good thing. But I think knowing how infectious this is, it's more about delaying it rather than preventing it. Don't forget to pour for Nick that the deaths generally lag behind a couple of weeks from the infections. Not always, but in general, just because of how it works, that you don't get really ill with it till like after 2 or 3 weeks of having it. Obviously, if you're in a really bad condition, you might die faster than that, but in general, that's how it works. I'm Alpha, you shouldn't be scared, but you should be very vigilant and paying a lot of attention. I think if you're one of those people that's saying, oh, nothing bad's going to happen, you are going to get absolutely fucked by this. Right, I'm going to have to go off now, I'm afraid, because I've been on longer than I was planning to. I don't normally stream Saturdays. But thank you, everybody that's donated. I really appreciate it. I will be on tomorrow. I'll be on for longer tomorrow. I'll probably start streaming about 8 p.m. UK time, and I'll probably be on for an hour or an hour and a half. There'll be videos on most days anyway, about 12 midday sort of time. But yeah, thanks everybody. But I'll be at work for most of the day tomorrow again, like today. But I will let you know if I hear any more weird, bizarre stuff on the radio or whatever, or people phoning in to say, oh, it's more people die in car accidents per year, so I don't know why you're worried about it. Right, yeah, anyway, thanks everybody. Have a good evening, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.